hear me. Now you can hear me? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I picked Louisa because I think what she's doing is awesome. She has a super story. She's a rare person to be working on a bot startup in France as well. There's not a ton of them. And she's super young. How old are you?
25.
Oh my God. So she's the co-founder of a really cool startup called Citron. And what I love about your story is that you guys actually stumbled on bots kind of by accident. You weren't like, I'm going to launch a bot startup. You totally took a different route and you ended up with bots as your answer. So what happened?
Okay, totally. So we started off being an app, classic. Loic wanted to do a playlist of people. We wanted to do a playlist of places. So the idea, you'd have an app where you could have Google Maps with your favorite places, and you could share it with either with only yourself or with friends or with anyone. So I don't know, I'd have my map of my favorite brunches in Paris, my favorite bars, my favorite friends, everything I wanted. And then we were about to develop the product, and a couple of weeks beforehand, we did these last kind of round tables, interviews and everything, and we realized nobody wanted it. So that was kind of big.
How come?
I don't know, we were sure of our idea and just kind of thinking, okay, we're going to do this and this is how it's going to work, and then just realized that it was not the way it's going to work. So that was kind of like, okay, what do we do now? And we're kids, so we played Pokemon Go, so we launched a Pokebot. So a chatbot that would recommend Pokemons, the closest and the rarest, and tell you how long you had to go and get them. And that was kind of success, because within a couple of days we were at 1 demand per minute, and we figured, okay, there might be something here. And we learned lots from this experience. It was just, like, it took us 2.5 weeks, so 10 days to develop, and then we were live a week. And then we just kind of figured we should go from that and adapt this technology to finding places. We're still in the same problem. We were pretty sure that there is a real problem. Like, how do you today find a place that matches my desires, my geolocation, and that I can easily find?
Super interesting. I find it hilarious that people don't want an app, though. Like, what about the app made you think, okay, maybe bots will work?
How many apps do you have on your phone? How many do you use on a daily basis? So many? Okay.
I have so many on my phone, but how many do I use? Maybe like 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the main idea. And also, we saw that on the Apple Store or on the stores, there were so many apps. We're thinking, okay, how are we going to differentiate ourselves? And so we just kind of launched a bot, saw how it worked, and decided to apply it with Citron that we launched 2 months ago.
Super. So for people who don't know Citron, like, where do they find it? How does it work? What do you ask it?
Okay, so you find it on Messenger. So you just open up new message to Citron, or you can contact the Facebook page, Meet Citron. And the idea is you start off a discussion and recommends places to go to, for the moment in France. And we're focusing mainly on bars, clubs, and restaurants, which is actually what's mostly asked on Yelp and TripAdvisor, etc.
And somehow people are more comfortable asking a bot where to go than their friends.
People are actually pretty sure it's a friend. Like, we have these
Weird.
people who every single day would ask for a joke at 7:12 in every single morning. So it's just kind of like the wake-up call is Citron and it's jokes. People kind of think it's a human, so they ask us for our telephone number, they send us pictures and all these kind of things. So yeah, people get to think it's actually like a friend I can rely on. The chatbot is always nice, it's always positive, it always answers. It's kind of nice.
So people don't know that it's not a human.
I guess some people don't want to know. I mean, a human would never answer so fast, so there has to be something. But then I guess people just don't know what it is.
That's so weird. This actually happened to me. I'll tell the audience. It's super embarrassing. But do you know Julie Desk or X.AI? It's the one that you like email so that you can set up meetings. So I saw X.AI, which is called Amy Ingram. And I actually thought it was a real person. So I wrote to her, I'm like, Amy, you're the assistant for all my friends. How is that possible? And she writes back, I am a robot. So I thought that was kind of crazy. I imagine people do that to you guys. What is like the weirdest thing someone has asked your Citron?
We have like a best of with all these weird things people have asked. People have asked for where can I buy, it's a lot about buying. So where can I steal a bank?
Where can you rob a bank? Excellent.
Where can I rob a bank? Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have to keep track of what it asks it. But what are you guys actually meant to do? Like, what can you actually recognize? Can I just say, can I be super specific and say, like, I want a bar with, like, purple lights and, like, it serves sushi at 6 p.m.? What can I actually ask? Yeah,
so we have our own database that we've categorized ourselves with a lot of criteria. So you can actually ask for a cozy bar with a chimney and authentic music, and I mean all these criterias. The idea is that you're really native language. You're using your native language as if you were chatting with a friend. And that's the idea. So today we launched it with buttons. We can actually not use the buttons. And that's kind of the idea, is that with time, people will get to use it normally without using the buttons and kind of the architecture, but just like as if they were chatting. So we're adding things all the time, and we're really building it with the users. We almost launched a product that would have been a total failure. So that was kind of a big like learning curve. And so today we're really focusing on adding things, and each person in the team has to call one user a day just to get feedback and just to be constantly learning from them and building it with the users.
Super. So you guys haven't been around that long. Since when?
2 months.
2 months. And how many people use your bot today?
Over 10,000.
10,000 people using this bot. I think we give a round of applause for that. That's pretty cool. Very cool. And I'm also curious, why did you guys pick Messenger? Because there's so many other platforms you guys could have chosen.
Messenger has a billion people on it. So that's like already huge. And we're recommending places. So we have to have, you need to have a picture. You need to be able to visualize yourself over there to get actually to go there. So that was the main thing. And Messenger did it pretty nicely. They were evolving very fast, and we knew we had the agility to adapt to them. So we're working also with them just to be constantly adapting the product with them and making it better.
And what are the challenges both to using Messenger and also to developing a chatbot?
Mostly language, understanding a lot of things. So if you ask for earrings, the bot would not answer because it's not what it does. And except for Siri, I mean, a lot of bots can't answer 100%. So the idea is to get it more and more automatized with time. But that's kind of one of the big challenges. And another challenge is obviously getting people to use it. So I don't know, how many people use a bot on a daily basis here?
On a daily basis, really? What bots are you guys using?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Siri?
Okay.
No? Cortana, sorry. No?
Okay, so that's a tiny amount. So we have like a huge work just kind of getting people to use bots, to try them, but also like this retention and keep them on the bot, which is a real challenge.
Well, is it possible that if people don't know that they're bots, pretty soon we'll all just be talking to bots all the time and have no idea? Don't you think we should tell people that they're bots?
So when we recommend a place, you get a picture, you get 3 places every time with directions, information. You can book it, you can save it in your gallery, you can do loads of things with these places. And we say the research has been done in this amount of seconds, kind of like Google, it's like our link. And so people know it's not a bot, it's not a human. Sorry, I mean nobody would say the research has been done in 0.00 seconds. So.
Okay, super. Well, I think we're going to open it up for questions pretty soon. I'm just so fascinated by this. I'm wondering though, is there a chance of the bot also going completely haywire a little bit? Do you guys know what happened with Tay, the bot that they launched on Twitter with Microsoft, and she became like a racist creep? So is there a risk of that? Can she recommend you someplace you really shouldn't go and you end up there? And
that's the great thing with having our own database. And so I have 2 amazing co-founders that teach the bot a lot. So part of it is done automatically, but part of it also is done by hand to kind of control this aspect and to never be same as the example we have.
Okay, good.
So, yeah,
that way you guys don't risk going somewhere super creepy. Do we have any questions in the room? For people who use bots every day? Yeah. I'll take
one. Hello, thank you for this explanation. It's really interesting what you're talking about. Is there do you have any clues you can give people on how did you manage to grow the growth of this community around Citron and make people know about it? Because chatbot is really not used by so many people. So how do you do to make this happen and make people use it?
Okay, so both of my co-founders focus on the product, and I do the rest. And so the idea is to build a community from the beginning. So even when we were an app, we were already building a community. We launched with Thunderclap, where we had about 600,000 people who saw it. That's their numbers. But the idea is just by talking about it, by going to see people. Today our budget is 0 in communication and marketing, and kind of proud of that, and we'll keep it like that as long as we can. So there are loads of ways of doing it. It's partnerships, it's events, it's going to meet people, it's sharing it. Also, we're on a topic where you wouldn't go to a restaurant, a bar, or a club alone. So people tend to share it. So you can share it within Citron, or you can decide to share it when you go there. And so people would tend, if you go to a cool place with friends, your friends will ask you, hey, how did you find it? And so then we kind of got this word of mouth, which is kind of cool, and that's about it. Today we haven't done any like major action or major thing. We also weren't sure how we could adapt if we had too many people all of a sudden. So we're kind of controlling that, and now it's going to be more in acquisition phase.
You can have too many people using your chatbot?
Like it can fall, it can, you never know. It's like a website, or it's like, yeah.
No problem, sit up. We'll go in the back first.
Okay, hi. What is the current practices for monetization, and what is yours?
So that's a big question around chatbots. We've added services around the bots. So you can book a place, and you don't pay anything, but we'll get paid for bringing traffic. We're adding loads of other services around places. So today we're doing only bars, clubs, and restaurants. We've added a couple of museums. But you can think about it tomorrow. Tomorrow it could be a search engine. So you could have doctors, you could have any shop, you could have anything. That's the idea. And also, sorry, for the previous question, we tested the bot during 6 weeks with 100 people. It's like a closed community. And that kind of also taught us, so these were ambassadors when we launched, because they had already been trying it and talking about it. So that was kind of one of the best practice too.
So yes, you are talking about your database. How do you validate and grow your database to make sure the information is current and right?
Yeah. So if you say, I'm looking for a cozy restaurant for tomorrow night, then tomorrow night we'll ask you, how was it? And then we get about 90 to 95% answers because you're chatting with a friend. So you're going to say how it was. So you can say it was awful, or I hated the jazz music, or I had a lovely time because I adore this. And the bot is going to learn from that. And so the more you ask the bot, the more the answers are going to be adapted to who you are. So mostly feedback, user feedback. And also we have people, you can add a place if you wish on the chatbot. There's a whole like menu where you have your own profile, you have all these kind of things.
You have such differences between people in appreciation. If you look at TripAdvisor, for example, the same place could be ugly or wonderful. Yeah. So how do you manage that?
So we have like, so if 3 people said it was awful in the same week, like we have rules like that. That means that they're deleted from a database, or they go up in the algorithm, or we have like criterias. That's all like our magic sauce.
What's also really interesting is you guys have built your own database, and you have a lot more criteria than probably we'd expect. What are you guys actually looking at? How many different elements?
Yeah, so we're looking at the long-term vision, which is saying, okay, today people are not very demanding with chatbots because they don't use them. But we know that further along the way, there will be much more, or that's at least what we believe. So we put in about 25 criteria, so 25 words associated with each place, which are going to help us adapt. So it can be a happy hour, it can be cozy, it can be luxury, it can be a hotel bar, it can be, I don't know, super trendy, it can be all these kind of things.
Super. Do we have more questions in the room? So I'm wondering now, like, a bit about your vision with the whole bot space. What, first of all, are some of the bots that you look at and you go, that's really cool what they're doing? And also, where do you think we're headed with bots? I mean, we are starting to see just the very beginning, you know, customer service, apparently recommendations, but where are we headed in the long term?
So that's the tough part. It's really easy to build a chatbot. Today you have, tools where you can build a chatbot within 2 hours with no coding, just very easy. The idea is to differentiate yourself and to really build a real chatbot. For that, you need users using it to get their data and to adapt. So that's one of the main challenges. I think bots are going to be very used. People like to have personalized recommendations. So about a lot of things. You can have it for service, you can have it for HR, you can have it for dating, you can have, there are loads of bots. We look a lot at the US and Israel, mostly. In France, the ecosystem around bots is a lot about agencies that create bots for companies, which is a really easy way to monetize it. So we're mainly looking at startups or actually companies in the US, which will have their own app. They don't tend to be on Messenger or Twitter. They tend to have their own app where it's a chatbot.
And so what are some of the bots that you've seen that have really impressed and inspired you?
Oslo is a good one in the US.
What do they do?
So they recommend places.
Competitor.
Exactly. But they go and scrap it on the internet. So it's a different vision. And so they raised 14 million, 6 months ago. We look at them. Honestly, there are loads depending on what you do. But that's kind of the problem. Like with apps, you have best practices. Like in terms of UX, Uber is really good in terms of different things. And in France, you don't really have, or around bots, it's so new and so recent. Like there's no expert. And so we're kind of learning as we go and trying out loads of things. And some are huge failures, and hopefully some of them will be successes.
Do you think there's any topics where it's dangerous to put a bot? Because, for example, recommendations, it's like, okay, at worst you go to like a bad restaurant. It's not so bad. But do you think like if we put it in the health sector or if we put it in education, banking, do you think that there's room for huge, huge errors?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I guess there has to be also more tests. Like in the industry, they won't launch a product so easily, so fast. It will take a lot of time to test it and adapt and to see how it works. So it is much more dangerous. We're not on a very sensitive topic, so we're okay for the moment.
Cool. And just in terms of your startup, because you guys are so young, where should we expect to see you go in the future? You guys raising money? You guys growing your team? You launching anything new?
Yeah, we're thinking about a lot of things. What we're missing today is time. So probably be raising money in a couple of months. That's kind of one of the big aspects.
You guys haven't raised yet?
No, nothing.
And how big is your team?
It's 5 of us. So 3 co-founders, 3 of us, so 2 engineers, Julien and Robin. We met at HEC Entrepreneur and launched out of school, so still kids.
And you guys are planning to develop to other topics or sectors, or are you just going to stay on recommendations?
So that's a great thing also with the chatbot, is that you're chatting with the users. So we actually get to know what the user wants with the words they use. So for example, I know some of them ask us for cinemas, for shows, for doctors. So we're thinking, okay, we're able to analyze this data and to think, okay, I know we've had 50 times the word cinema, so we should be launching cinemas, or we should be doing all these kind of things. And we're talking a lot with different partners also to grow our database faster and to add services around the places. So I know you could be, today you can book a bar within Citron, so within Messenger, but tomorrow you could be able to pay for your cocktail, you could be able to, loads of things are doable, thinkable. So.
Super. Do we have anyone in the room who's building a bot startup? Oh, we do, we have a few. What is your advice for people who are building bots?
Test, just try and test and focus on the user. I mean, it's something that I've been told 1,000 times by entrepreneurs, but just focus on the user. And then the team, obviously, I mean, which is just the most important part of any startup. Building a team with people you want to work with and that you admire.
Super. I will take one more question, if there's any more questions. No? Thank you so much, Louisa.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. 25, right?